think it kind of shocked people. Here's this steel target company that all of a sudden is posting with fighting gear, night vision, and thermal. We've always held the belief that firearm rights are human rights, and we hold the belief that our founders did not just protect firearms, but also protected supplemental gear as well. We knew that we wanted to expand, we wanted to reach more people, and we had to speak this message of defiant freedom. So Arkayne was launched. Welcome to Arkayne. I remember the first time I used night vision. It was a crazy and eye-opening experience. I remember looking up at the sky and seeing what to me looked like 100 times the stars that I had ever seen, even in the darkest of nights. It was truly an incredible and frankly life-changing experience, seeing what so few will ever get to see. And I was immediately hooked. As I started the journey of training with night vision, shooting with it, driving, navigating, and using it almost daily, I started to grasp how important it was to teach others about it. And when we first got into night vision on a personal level, it was seen as very taboo. And if people found out that you had night vision or thermal, they questioned you. Are you guys nuts? Or are we just out poaching? Why would we need something similar to night vision or thermal? And all these responses were out of a misunderstanding of this type of kit. But it's not like that anymore. This gear is being normalized through the ownership and honestly mass education of people through pages just like ours. Now, we can't claim to be the sole reason for this normalization of this gear because it was happening long before we launched, frankly, any of our companies. But I am proud that our companies did for sure play a role in this normalization of this gear. Even before Arkayne existed, we were using our other company, TA Targets, to help normalize fighting equipment ownership among regular citizens. And it's something we take seriously, and we feel that it is vital to encourage others to understand it as well. We created this statement for Arkayne that says, "What was known by few taught to the many." And we feel that this accurately describes our populace today. How many fathers are teaching their sons fighting skills with modern gear? What percent of our population is shooting at a reasonably high level? Are we just hunters or plinkers? Do we just collect guns? Do we even understand our human rights? What examples are we leaving for the generations that are coming after us? I think if we're honest, we will all assess that generations before us dropped the ball. Much of the regulatory schemes that have been shoved down our throat came from a lazy, disengaged populace. People who felt so comfortable in their lives that they couldn't fathom the need for military equipment among citizens. And anyone who owned this gear would be labeled a crazy prepper or paranoid militia member. Or so we were poisoned to believe. Our company resides in the state of Pennsylvania. This is our home turf, and our state is rich in history of defiance and pursuit of liberty. Pennsylvania has strayed from its roots in modern times, but those roots remain. In 1776, Pennsylvania ratified its first constitution about a decade before the United States existed. In this constitution, it guaranteed the right of the citizens to bear arms and warned of the risks of standing armies on the homeland. In 1790, it amended and updated the protections for the right to bear arms by the citizens. This constitution stated the right of the citizens to bear arms in defense of themselves and the state shall not be questioned. To this day, the right to own firearms in that exact wording is protected inside the Pennsylvania Constitution. This is known by few. Our entire system is built upon the premise that dangerous liberty is desirable and vastly superior to all other forms of control and order. Dangerous liberty ensures the people's ability to truly pursue their own happiness. Dangerous liberty requires sacrifices, self-control, discipline, and personal excellence. Is our culture excellent? Are we generally pursuing personal excellence? Are we practicing discipline and leading by example? If we are honest, the answers to these questions are going to be no. We came to realize that being just a steel target company was not going to have the impact we needed to have inside of this community. We knew that we needed to branch out and expand so that we could teach and encourage our communities to find their teeth. So we created Arkayne, the teeth of our collective of brands, the defiant voice of liberty and defense. Our mission is to educate our populace, to normalize fighting equipment and streamline and simplify the process of owning and accessing it. Arkayne exists to teach people about this defiant freedom. In the eyes of tyrants, we are simply cattle, a means to their end. But when we are armed, trained, and organized, we can experience liberty. Individual liberty requires a populace to be willing to keep it and uphold it. Laziness has drugged our culture to this point of decay and detriment. It has taken us to a point where we teeter on the edge of falling or coming back into a healthy existence. The gear and tools and training that we offer is simply one part of that puzzle. When you gaze into the world and the situations that exist, you clearly see the collapse. You see the depravity of humans, the capability of violence. If you won't take steps to defend your home, family, and nation, then who's going to? A situation recently erupted in Pennsylvania where a convicted killer escaped prison and was at large inside of Pennsylvania. Do you have the tools to look over your property? The situations in Ukraine and Israel remind us that nobody will ever be there to save us. Only we have the ability, power, and responsibility to have the tools and the training to defend our lives, property, and communities. That is our responsibility, whether we like it or not. Natural law dictates that only the strong survive. But gear does not equate to strength on its own. It requires intentional training and discipline. So the next aspect of Arkayne is the training, the free content that we put out, the conversations, and connecting you to the experts in our circle. Because without training, you are simply a liability. The sooner we all realize this, the better. Just owning a fancy pair of binos like I have on the table does not make you capable in darkness. Putting hundreds of hours doing basic things in the dark is how you become an expert with your gear. It's never going to be enough to just own the tools. Arkayne exists to encourage training to a higher level than just basic understanding. We are committed to sharing what we have learned the hard way through real experiences and those skills that we've built over the years. Ultimately, I'm never going to claim to be an expert, and our team won't claim to be experts, and we're always learning, but we might just be a few steps ahead, and for many, the information we provide for free will absolutely change their lives. Our mission dictates that we never shy away from the truth. We never water down the message of liberty. We are a brand that is built to arm the populace and to equip the populace and to encourage quality training and a high level of skill. Our culture is desperate for a correction course, a return to ethics and morality, a return to the foundation of what this country was built upon. That work requires all of us to pitch in, never remain complacent, never get comfortable. See the events around the world and use them as a catalyst to become prepared now before it's too late. Because what was known by few may and probably will eventually need to be used by many.